Hello there. In this video, we're going to take a quick look at the parts of PyCharm. I'm not going to go through the whole setup that you need to do for our class. There is a separate document, software setup, that you can look through on your own and will help you out in class or office hours. I just want to, assuming you've got that set up, I want to point out a few things live that you might want to be watching for in PyCharm, and I'll show you a couple of things actively about how you use the basics of PyCharm. All right, so here you can see my PyCharm. This is a folder, a project I've made a while ago. It's got a lot of different code files in it. I'm not going to take a look at any of those necessarily, but they're there. This is what your project will look like after you've been working with it for a while. I even have some folders that are a part of this as well, including some that have to do with images and so forth. So what I want to point out to you are the sort of main pieces of the view that you get when you're in a project in PyCharm. So over here on the left, you can see our project view. That is controlled by this button. If you click it, it goes away. If you click it again, it comes back. There are other buttons here that you can also use, but we aren't going to use any of them right now. So this is the project view. It shows you basically a folder, a view of the folder and what is inside it. It shows all of the Python or any other kinds of files that you might have created and any subfolders. If you notice down here at the bottom, there's always this part that says external libraries and scratches and consoles, and you don't need to worry about those at all. Just ignore them and pretend they aren't there. All right, so then you first start up a project, you'll have this panel. It may not have much in it, but it will give you that view. I know in one of the other documents I commented about these things. I'm going to talk through them here anyway. Up here in the top is the section that controls running of programs, and I'll give you an example of that in just a moment. This is the run button. One of the best ideas you could do is to set this drop-down menu to current file, and that way when you click the run button, it will run whatever code file you are currently reading or currently active in. There also are a set of buttons over here in the right-hand corner. You shouldn't need any of these. Do not use the AI that is available with PyCharm. Not for this class. We want you to do your own programming, and the AI will help you in ways that are essentially not helpful. Either it will give you bad code that won't run and you won't understand, and therefore you won't be able to fix it, or it will give you good code and you will not have any clue how to create that code on your own or how to fix it if it's not correct. There is a nice option up here of Code with Me. It allows you on two separate machines to work in one particular code file collaboratively, and you're welcome to play with that. I can talk you through how to use it. This main panel here is the edit window. We don't actually have a code file open right now, so I'm going to make a new one. I'm going to go over here to this plus sign, new file or directory. You'll only see this plus sign if you're in the project view. And then you select Python file and you type the name of a file, simple example.py. You don't have to put the .py on there. If you selected up Python file, it will add it for you. All right, this is then an editor window. You have line numbers over here on the left, and over here on the right, it will give you information about whether the code file appears to be correct in terms of its syntax. So I'm going to write a quick program, say print hello all, and then I've got another little print statement. Okay. So I've made some lines of code. You can see that everything over here looks fine. It may or may not show you these little tan markings on the right. If it does, this is code style annotation. You're welcome to ignore these. It's a weak warning because it doesn't like your style. In my case, it doesn't like that I left a bunch of blank lines at the top. you can ignore the style issues. If there's actually a mistake in your program, like suppose that I did not remember to put a quotation mark at the end of this string, then you'll see lines that show up underneath where it thinks there is a problem, and it'll also have suggestions of what might be a problem over here on the right. Notice that that one little tiny change caused 5 different errors to be detected. Really, the first error is the only one that's a real error, and if we fix that, then it would be fine. All right, so you will play around with this more in our activity. I just wanted to show you that the editor itself wants to help you with the things that you're doing. And it even will do things like if I just typed PR, notice that it brings up options that I might want, and you can use these pop-up options. And if you hit Tab, it will fill in with whatever option you selected. And I don't really have anything else to do there, so I'm just going to leave it empty. All right, so suppose I've made this program, now I want to run it. I can, if this says current file, I can go up here and click the run button. I often find out of old habits, I will often just like move my mouse off of the text and do a right click, or on the Mac, you hold down the control key and hit click. And there's a long list of useful things you might want to do with your code file, one of which is run. And so I often end up selecting that, and it works just fine. All right, so having run this program, I'm going to move this up just a little because I want to make this a little bigger. I've run the program, and now what I get down here in the bottom section is a run panel. It tells me what program it was trying to run, and it shows me the output from that program. It also will remind me of exactly which version of Python I'm using and exactly what code file I'm running. It's very good to check those and make sure they're what you expect them to be. So in my code here, I had 3 print statements in it, so it outputs the values of those 3 print statements, and that's about it. The details of what it's actually doing we'll talk about a little bit later. You can rerun the code either by clicking the button up here. So I could say, take out this middle print statement. I'm just commenting it out. And then I could hit run, and it'll run the program again. There's also a run button right here. Rerun, it says. You can run it again. The little thing that looks like a bug is the debugger. We'll talk about that later. All right, so that's sort of the basic mode that we're going to use for much of what we do, but there's one other thing that we will do right away with Python in PyCharm that you should know about, and that is that we will sometimes open up the Python console. Ooh, I see I had the console open here already. I'm going to rerun it just so I get a fresh one. Okay. The Python console is an interactive mode where you can talk directly, one instruction at a time, with the Python interpreter and see the results of what you've done. So I could just type things in here. So I could type in like 425 and I can hit enter, and what happens is that Python will evaluate that. If it's an expression, which we'll talk about later, it will print the value of that expression. So a number by itself is an expression. It prints the value of the number, which is just the number itself. If it's a statement, it will do the statement, and if there's any result, it will print it. So if I say x equals 425, it doesn't print anything, but now I can use this name x instead of just typing in the number. So this lets you try things out. You can try expressions or statements to see if they have the effect that you expect. You can experiment with what values variables have. We'll do a lot of this as we're learning the basics of Python. I also find this is like a really useful calculator for me. I hate using a regular calculator, so I'll often just open Python console, which is also called a Python shell. I will open that up and just type in the arithmetic that I want to do because I can see the whole thing at once. So if suppose I wanted to like average test scores or something like that, I could do like 25 plus 20 plus 13 plus 25 divided by 4. That will do this whole calculation and print the result, and I could see exactly what I did, so I can make sure that I didn't make a mistake in what I was doing. There's one last topic that I want to cover about using PyCharm, and that has to do with settings and with the interpreter itself. So there are many settings that you can customize. You can change the theme. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. One thing to notice is down here in the right-hand corner, you can see that it will list the Python version that you're currently using. You can click on that, it pops up a menu. It'll let you select other Python versions. You can see I have way too many on my computer. Or you can add a new interpreter. You can manage packages, which is how we'll install packages in the computer into PyCharm. Or you can go in and look at the settings for the interpreter, which lets you do a lot of things. So this is a really handy shortcut. Also up here in the upper right hand corner, you will see there's a gear icon, and there are several things you can do here, but one of them is you can access the settings themselves. So the settings, they're just a lot of settings. The first one, Python, is about your interpreter, and so you can set various things about how you interact with it. Appearance and behavior is where you can really tailor the look of the program for yourself. So I use light theme generally, in part because it projects really well and I don't like to go back and forth. There is a dark mode if you like dark modes. I find this dark mode does not have a lot of contrast at times between like the gray lettering and the black background. There is a high contrast version, which is kind of obnoxious, but if you have vision issues, it might be good. And there are other themes as well. You can also set this up so that it just does whatever your operating system is saying to do. And there are so many other options. I suggested that you change some of these options for yourself, but you absolutely can go in and look and see if there are other things you want to do. I'm not going to go over how to install packages. I think that's something best done one-on-one if you can't make sense of the instructions that I've given to you. All right, so that's a quick introduction to the PyCharm program we're going to be using. There's lots more to learn. We'll keep learning more. And as you experiment, if you run across something you don't understand or you mess up your settings and you don't know how to get back, make sure you reach out to me about it. Bye-bye.